What's going on? It's Saturday night, which means that I'm very happy because we just had college football, and it's really easy to double up at college football because people are idiots and they don't know the secret to the universe that I know. You just play whoever's playing USC's defense. That's the key to winning. That's all you got to do, and you're automatically there. So we basically got a free roll for NFL tomorrow. Do I like free rolls? Yeah. And my stacks might be a little extra stanky tomorrow. A little extra stanky because I'm playing with the house's money, and I don't give a shit. What's up, new guy? My name's James, better known as Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at DFS. That stands for Daily Fantasy Sports, right? That's like DraftKings and FanDuel, new guy. And I'm not going to do it with my core plays and picks and all that nonsense. What I'm going to do is try to help you get a little bit better at the process by giving you the rundown of all the things I've learned over the years, and I've been doing it a long time, and it took me a while to not suck at it, and I'm going to try to shorten that window for you. If you find you like the cut of my jib, come check out that schedule right there. I do this show every Saturday night live, 7 o'clock, Lord's time zone, as always. I also do a Monday night and Thursday night show, noon, if you need something to do at work, where we break down the showdown slates. I also do college football and golf, as you can see, and every Tuesday I do a breakdown, like a preview of the slate with my dude Tambo. This week it will be back on my channel, so be there and get in there. Also, I give away a lot of free tickets, all right? We will be building some tickets, me and you, in the Millionaire Maker tomorrow, and if we hit it, I will split the profits with you 50-50, and I think $500,000 is quite a bit of money. A great mathematician once said. So, to get in there, simply ask up to 2 questions in the chat, and I will do it. The other way you can do it is just like and retweet over on Twitter. That's what all these guys and girls did, and I will be drawing their names at the end. For every 50 likes we get, I will do one from the chat, so make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you tell your friend. Get your mom on here. I don't care what you do, okay? Let's get to contest selection. I don't know at this point of the year. We're getting into legit like halfway through the year now. And if you've been watching my show, you should know what I'm going to say about showdown selection or contest selection, okay? Get into contest. Experiment with contests that you like. Well, here's my rules, all right? And I don't expect your process to be my process, but some rules that I follow is I basically play in the same contest every week. I play in the $200 single entry, the $100 single entries, the $50 single entries, the $150 3 maxes, and often I will play in the $40 10 max. Those are the contests I like to play in. Why? Well, most of all, they have really good flat payout structures, which we always talk about. They're usually always less than 20% to first. Second place is always half of first, and 10th place is usually coming in at about 1/10 or 1/20th of first, which is a good solid payout structure. But beyond that, there's not 9 million people in them, okay? So when there's 9 million people in a contest, you basically have to hit the nuts to win. And it's not easy to hit the nuts at GPPs. So I like to just have good lineups and still be able to have a good sweat. So that's what I do, right? And I hit a big one a couple weeks ago. You know how many extra lineups I played last week? None. I played the exact same amount because you don't go chasing your wins by thinking, oh, now I'm on fire. I got it figured out. No, you don't. It's GPPs. You're going to lose most weeks. Stay the course. Stay your process. If it's good or it's bad, stick to the game plan that you formed, and you got to run it out for a while to get a feel for if you're doing it right or wrong, okay? That is contest selection. I'm not going to dive into every contest. DraftKings has the best contests. NFL DraftKings is just like, it's a wet dream for people who love contest selection because they have every size of contest, every amount of entry that you could want, every sizing that you could want. It's just the nuts. So if you can't find a contest you like for main slate Sunday NFL football on DraftKings, then the perfect contest doesn't exist for you, okay? But of course, the one contest you should definitely get in is mine right there. Go get in it. Look, we still got about 200 spots to fill. The link, I just saw the editor put it in the chat. Go get in it. It is a $5 3 max with a reduced rake and a flat payout structure. Get in there, build the community, and a shout out to my winner last week, old Stiggy24 and Fat Sandwich. What a name, Fat Sandwich. Congratulations to those guys. I see a Ship It in there. I see B-Hop. Isn't that the guy? Is that my B-Hop that went to Austin with me? Anyways, there you go. Get in there, okay? Clearly, I'm not doing any good. See my 3 circles? Womp, womp. All right, let's start. I want to talk a little bit about props. I've been getting more into prop betting. Some people like props, and so I've just started sharing the 3 props that I'm using. I'm using Run the Sims Prop Sniper, which is helping me identify the best ones. If you're interested in having a prop sniper, which, you know, it's not as useful for things like Prize Pick and Underdogs where you're parlaying your props, but if you want to just bet individual props and you want to find the book that has the softest numbers, the Prop Sniper over at Run the Sims does that. You can use my code DGen75 and get a discount. The 3 that I found this week that I really like is 1, Ramondre Stevenson, over 37.5 rushing yards. He is slowly starting to take that backfill back from Zeke, as we know, because Zeke is dust. He sucks balls. And 37.5 is a really low total for a guy that is going to be getting probably 15 carries, and I bet the Patriots are going to keep it closer than you think they are, and he will be getting his touches. From there, Lamar Jackson has the most delicious matchup on the slate, playing the lowly Arizona Cardinals. They're finally starting to open up their offense. Lamar is starting to run. Part of the reason he was a god last week, what did he score? 490 points. So I would like his over on the 48.5 rushing. And lastly, Najee Harris is a guy that we can just see is slowly getting phased out. That team is turning more and more to Jaylen Warren, and I think that you are finally going to see Jaylen Warren take over that backfield this week. And Najee Harris is a guy that's getting fewer and fewer rushing attempts. He's still keeping up a couple targets out of the backfield, but that doesn't matter when we're doing the rushing prop. So give me the under on 12.5 rushing attempts for my dude Najee. All right, the other thing I want to do is if I'm going to be the guy who talks about the process and not just my picks and plays, well, then I should probably give you my process tip of the week. And this is actually the same one I put out in my newsletter, which go sign up for my newsletter, is this. When you have a full slate, we got a full 13-game slate. This is the biggest you'll ever see, right, on Sunday main slate, because we're always going to have a Sunday night, a Monday night, and a Thursday night game, so that's 16 games. 13 is the most we'll ever see. And when you're playing these, there's always going to be a time to punt, right? And there's going to be positions to punt. But part of my process that I think you should consider is that on a 13-game slate, there are so many good running back options that when you use one of your positions to punt at running back, I think you are getting your money in very negative EV. If you're going to punt in a position, there are better positions to punt at, like a wide receiver or a tight end who can simply get there in one play. Very, very, very rarely does a running back ever get there in one play. What running backs usually have to do to get there is be involved in either a lot of volume or a shootout style game. And when you're playing some cute backup running back who may squeeze out 6 touches, just know that on a main slate that those guys are good for showdown because you just need them to get a little bit. But on main slate, you need those guys to deliver 3, 4, 5x if you're serious about taking down a GPP. And how often those guys do that? Very, very rarely. So when you have a main slate like this with 13 games, that's 26 teams to choose from, there is going to be 8 to 10 really good running back plays, and you should probably focus on playing those good running back plays and then save, I'm not telling you to not get different, but get different with your stacks, get different with your wide receivers, get different with your tight ends. I'm telling you, the one place you do not want to get weird at is a running back, because running back, more than any other position in the NFL, relies on volume, and volume is king, and you do not want to rely on efficiency, especially efficiency from slapdick running backs that are second or third string guys. This is how I do it. This is my tip of the week for you. Play good running backs. Don't get cute at that position. Get cute at your other positions. Differentiate elsewhere, and don't get cute playing slapdick $4,600 running backs because they might get a goal line carry. Do whatever you want. Hey, if you know what you do need to do, you need good projections. And I know a guy right here named Degenerate75. You see right there, my little projections right there on the screen, it says Degenerate75, because every single slate, showdown, main slate, college football, PGA, anything, I make I make projections for them. And I load them right here into this thing called the Solver. The Solver is an optimizer. Hey, you are a casual guy watching this on YouTube, and you really enjoy DFS and DraftKings and FanDuel, and you want to have fun with it, right? But you feel like there's all these sharks in the water. So imagine there was a place where you could have the same tools as the Sharks, the projections that the Sharks have, the optimizer that the Sharks have, and you could actually compete with them. And I know you're thinking, man, I can't afford that. I'm data too. I don't have that kind of money. I get it. I really do. So imagine if you could get my projections, my ownership, and the optimizer, all of that for as low as $25 a month, or every single sport for as low as $50 a month. That's what it offers. Other optimizers, hundreds of dollars a month. Okay, this is such an incredible deal. If you want my projections and the optimizer, you get all of it in one. You just simply sign up using my little landing page here, Showdown Hoedown. You can get it all. All right, let's get to this slate, and then we will get to the questions. First thing we always got to look at is weather. There's not as many dome games this week, and here at DGN75, we love dome. Okay, we love it. So a couple games that have me a little concerned with the weather, right? The Packers and Vikings, there is a slight chance at snow. I think more than anything, it's just going to be cold. I'm not too concerned about the precipitation. You can see it only has about a 5 to 10% chance based on the projections I was looking at, but definitely something to monitor, right? I think people want to believe that that game's going to shoot out. So if we're going to get the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, maybe that's not it. One that I find particularly concerning is Tennessee-Atlanta. I already think these two teams are toxic, and now you're going to put them in a chance where there's 50% chance of rain outdoors at Tennessee with two offenses that are already putrid. If you were already looking for a reason to fade this game and we see that showers are going to be there tomorrow, I think I can find better places to get my money in. Of course, the Colts and Saints are in a dome. Not too concerned about that one. The Dolphins and Patriots, a 1% chance of rain. It's Miami. It's going to sprinkle. It won't matter because the only sprinkling that's going to happen is Tua sprinkling 4 touchdowns to his wide receivers, okay? When they're in Miami, they're unstoppable. It's a fact. It's a fact. Another game that's very, very concerning, which once again, 2 just radioactively bad teams. The Jets and the Giants, 90% chance of rain. It says definite rain. This is outdoors, but basically it's a home game because they play at the same damn stadium. And this is just a game that you probably should have already been on the fence about playing at best, and now you're seeing a big chance of rain. I just don't know why you would want to get your money in. I'm not saying you can't play pieces of this game. I'm just saying, like, probably the best game to stack, Bob, all right? Get cute somewhere else. Another game that I think people want to get access to is this Jacksonville Steelers game. People are big on Jacksonville, but Pittsburgh plays defense. Pittsburgh's at home, and I'm seeing a 70% chance of rain. That's a lot of things that could lead to this game being sloggy as shit. And you don't want to build your stacks or your entire player pool around sloggy-ass games. The only other one I would really be watching is the Commanders and the Eagles. There is some slight chances of rain, and in Denver there is a little bit of chance of snow, which it's getting close to Christmas when we're worried about snow. I love snow and I love Christmas. All right, I know. Hey, I'm not here to step on Thanksgiving's dick. I love Thanksgiving too. Okay, so there you go. Those are just some games to keep an eye out on. Right? You know, a game I'm not concerned about. I'm not concerned about Arizona and Baltimore because I've been in that stadium multiple times and. There's not going to be any rain or snow in there. Can confirm. All right, let's get over to it. I'm going to give you a quick run through of injury updates and kind of give you an idea. This is called the Rosetta Stone. This is what I make for all of my members over on my website. I do it for every single slate. This is the one they get. It's obviously all colored up with the projections and the points project, the optimals, everything you need to know. But this is the watered down YouTube version. You'll watch it and you'll like it, pal. All right, first game up, Houston and Carolina. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. Sneaky shootout game. It just feels like a sneaky shootout game. First of all, they're going to be in decent weather down in Carolina. And second of all, I don't think either of these teams are particularly good, but sometimes 2 bad teams can accidentally get there. If you're wanting to be a complete sicko this week, just do me a favor and just consider a Bryce Young stack. We have seen so many disgusting stacks get there this year. Why can't slapdick Bryce Young get there? Why not, right? The best part is, okay, Thielen is priced up now, but then you can go double stack him and run him with Shark or Mingo or even Hayden Hurst, and those are really, really cheap options, and that allows you to go get those super nice options like a McCaffrey or a Tyreek Hill or whoever you want on this slate, and you don't have to spend it all on your stack. Just something to consider. I know it's slimy. Oh yeah, and Houston has a Ness run back with Houston, because Houston has been surprisingly efficient this year at offense. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, I think both get a slight boost with old Bobby Trees being out this week. I think Dameon Pierce is probably a solid punt option, but once again, you got to ask yourself, is he one of those guys I'm getting too cute with on a slate with so many good running backs? I would say because he's a starter, he doesn't fall in there. But if you're thinking, ooh, I'll play Devin Singletary, that's the kind of shit I was talking about on the process tip. I also think Dalton Schultz is probably in a good spot. This just strikes me as a game that could be like just 24-21, right? Which is basically the implied total, but they could get a lot of yards. I don't know. Just feeling that game for some reason. I don't know. Maybe because they're so gross, and I love a gross stack. All right, from there, probably the best game on the slate as far as everything considered. When you talk about teams that are going to be getting the ball down the field, teams that have concentrated usage, and they're going to be in good conditions. I'm surprised to see this Rams and Dallas game is not going to be more popular than it is. Darrell Henderson, we need to start with him, did get called up. He is back from the practice squad, and he is going to be starting. I think he will definitely be leading that backfield. Matthew Stafford at 6,600. It's hard to swallow with a guy that just offers legitimately zero rushing upside. Trying to figure out their wide receivers, the pain in the ass. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are both usage monsters, but man, at those price tags, you kind of want them to be the only dude. You want like 15 targets for those guys. If you can guess which one's right, I think they are an incredible run back for what could be a sneaky team to stack and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are not coming in that highly owned. Tony Pollard seems to be the one guy gaining the most steam for the Cowboys, and maybe what you do is you just say, well, I'm not going to play that guy because he looks broken as shit. I'm telling you, something's wrong with that guy. And you just go play a Dak stack, right? You can go stack him with Cooks. Of course, you can stack him with CeeDee Lamb. You can stack him with Jake Ferguson. Hell, I don't even mind Michael Gallup if he's going to throw the ball to him 42 times a game. And then you can go run it back with Kupp, okay? Or even Henderson if you're a real sicko. But once again, I just don't know that you need to get that cute at running back on this slate. From there, Minnesota, Green Bay, this is a game that I think people want to believe can shoot out, right? We're just seeing Minnesota come off the big game in primetime where they beat the 49ers and look great. Addison looks like he is an emerging star, filling that void of Justin Jefferson. KJ Osborne is always fairly priced for a guy who's on the field literally the whole damn game. I think Alexander Madison is on the way down, and Cam Akers is on the way up, and I think they both suck. For Green Bay, I just got to tell you, I think people want to stack Jordan Love, and I have just not convinced myself yet that he doesn't suck. I think he might suck. He's just not a good quarterback. Maybe he is, but I am not ready to say that he's good. I'm actually more confident to say that he's bad. Christian Watson definitely is number one wide receiver, but has not got going, and maybe that's no reflection on Watson. Maybe that's just a reflection on the fact that Jordan Love sucks. We do need to watch Luke Musgrave. He is questionable. I hear he's trending towards playing, but I think you want to keep an eye out on that. If he's out, I don't know how much I'm dying to play backup tight ends for the Packers, but something to keep an eye on. Overall, with the possible snow, with the cold weather, and, both these teams just kind of generally not being good, there might be better places that I would want to build my stacks around, because I think that this game is going to be sneaky popular, which is weird as shit to me. Another game, I guess it's just in a dome. I want you to know I have dome bias because, once again, we love dome here. New Orleans and Indianapolis, this game, basically, here's my narrative. Every week, I just assume the Colts are going to be in a shootout game, okay? And it's usually because they're at home. They usually can't stop anybody, and they actually have, a good enough offense. Gardner Minshew has not been that bad. I think what really gets interesting about this game is Zach Moss is truly questionable right now. If he's out, I think Jonathan Taylor probably becomes a smash play on this slate at just $6,200. I'm not going to be the only one that realizes that, so there's always a path to fading him, and maybe the answer is you just go run a Gardner Minshew stack, right? And you run it back with Kamara or Olave or something like that. Or if you really are just the slimiest of slimy, you go run a Derek Carr stack and run it back with Jonathan Taylor, right? Because a lot of people are going to play Jonathan Taylor if we get word that Zach Moss is out, but ain't nobody playing Jonathan Taylor as a run back to a Derek Carr stack. So if you're an icky bastard, at least give it a thought, right? Alvin Kamara is definitely leading that backfield. I think he sucks. I think he's dust. But when you get 15 targets a game out of the backfield, it's pretty easy to be successful. I keep thinking Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller will cut into that, but they just haven't seemed to. But I will say Kamara being priced up to $7,300 does make me pump the brakes just a little bit. Gardner Minshew still down at $5,400. I'm telling you, the guy is a serviceable NFL quarterback. There is a chance that this game could be a 28-27 type game, and they have 400 yards of offense, and he gets his. He's very easy to stack because if Granson is out, so basically the only two guys worth even considering stacking him with is just skinny stacking, which means one guy with either Pittman or Downs. Moving on, I told you a long time ago, I made a rule a long time ago, you never fade the Dolphins at home. I don't care how chalky they are, you do not fade the Dolphins when they're at home. You're like, yeah, but they're going to blow out New England, so I'm worried about the blowout. They don't give a shit. They'll be up 28 in the fourth quarter, running play action over the top. They don't give a shit. They're like the Patriots were back in 2007. They don't give a shit. So, the Dolphins, you are foolish if you do not play any of the Dolphins, because I promise you they'll score 28 points. This is the fourth time this year I said they're at home. I promise you they'll score 28 every time they score like way more than that. 28 is just like the baseline minimum. Tua I don't love at $7,700. There's just because he doesn't offer that rushing upside. And if I'm going to start paying close to $8,000 for a guy, I need some rushing upside. But damn, I love everybody else, right? Raheem Mostert is going to have the backfield to himself. Yes, he is questionable, but he is most likely going to play. He is going to have that backfield to himself. Tyreek Hill has been unbelievable this year, even more unbelievable at home, but don't forget the narrative that the Patriots have truly shut down number one wide receivers this year, which makes Jalen Waddle the ultimate pivot play, right? If they really are going to make a point to take away Tyreek Hill, well, who's the other guy on the field that's also an electric player? His name is Jalen Waddle. I agree, Jalen Waddle is a lot like Tony Pollard this year in that he just has not looked 100%, but he ain't going to scare me off of him. And Durham Smythe is a guy that should be good, and he's not. I'm done with that motherfather. Moving on to here, let me go change this one. Can I change this real quick? No, it won't let me change it. I was going to change it to radioactive. This game right here, the Jets and the Giants, not great, Bob. Not great. There's just not, I think that this is a game you can play pieces. And by pieces, I mean like defenses or Breece Hall. That's really the only pieces I think you should be considering. The Giants are a mess. I guess if you want to play Darren Waller, I guess you could, but he's banged up and he is questionable, so you're going to have to watch that. But to me, Breece Hall is a guy that is starting to take over that backfield. If this game's sloggy, I don't care about sloggy games when I have the running back, right? Or when I have the defenses, right? I think a Jets defense and Breece Hall is a nice little correlation here, because if they get up and you get Tyrod Taylor playing from behind, he's going to take sacks, he's going to be forcing the ball, maybe causing interceptions, and you have Breece Hall getting more carries. And let's face it, Breece Hall is kind of the home run hitter in the NFL right now, right? If he gets 18 touches, there's at least a decent chance one of those is going to the house from 60 yards away. Zach Wilson, I can't do it. Garrett Wilson, I want to believe he's talented, but not when he has Zach Wilson throwing him the ball. And then the Giants, Saquon's always an option, but man, at $8,000, I'll find the money to get to McCaffrey, bro. Going on to Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, a game that I want to believe in, but I'm going to tell you, I think Pittsburgh plays defense. I think Pittsburgh is going to make this game yucky and ugly, and I think that this game is going to be a slog. And if I think that really takes a lot of the value away from the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, just put him in for 15 points and let's move on, right? ETN, there's no way he can continue to have this touchdown regression. There's no way he's not going to have a touchdown regression, right? So watch out for that, because if you're taking away his touchdowns, he is not doing that great, right? It's not like he's getting 100 yards and 5 catches every game. Zay Jones is out again, so I think that really adds value to Christian Kirk. I think he is still definitely the number one receiver. It's nice to see he's finally priced ahead of Ridley, because he has definitively proved himself as the number one wide receiver there. And Evan Ingram is always a consideration. But it's not the cheapest team to stack, and I don't think they're in the best situation. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they're a lot cheaper. I can say that. Kenny Pickett's very cheap. Pickens and Deontay Johnson are very affordable. Connor Hayward is very affordable. But, what's their upside in a sloggy game? That would be my question for you, right? I just think there's better places to probably get your stacks in. Now, if you're a sicko and you want to run a Kenny Pickett stack, I respect that, because I love a 6 stack. But, man, it's tough, right? Kenny Pickett, you're going to run him with Pickens and Hayward. What are the chances he carries both those guys across the finish line? Ugh. The running back, we've already talked about it. I think Jaylen Warren's taking over that backfield. I don't know if I'm ready to put him in my DFS lineups on a main slate. On Showdown, definitely. I just don't know if I'm ready at main slate. Atlanta, Tennessee. Look, we have the radioactive symbol for this one. Bijan is a guy that's going to go for 40 points this week, because no one's going to play him, and we've all accepted that he sucks, and he's a fragile little bitch. We've accepted all these things, so he's going for 40. I would say that, with the rain, this is another game that I don't love either of these teams. I don't like their weapons that much. I would have been interested in Drake London, but if we're seeing that it's going to rain all game, him and Kyle Pitts probably take about a 10% discount in their projections. And if they're going to be taking a 10% cut in their projections, that's not good for their overall projections. Tennessee is without Tannehill. It appears as though Levis and Malik Willis are both going to get a run at this. Derrick Henry seems like a guy that they're just trying to trade for, like a spare muffler at this point. I don't think he's going to get a ton of run. I think they're ready to just have Tajay Spears take this thing over, and they're ready to build for the future, which I can go ahead and tell you the future. It's going to suck for at least the next couple of years. Treylon Burks has been practicing in full. I expect him to be back, but man, what's his upside with these two slappies throwing him the ball? Philly and Washington, I don't know. If I get word there could be good weather, this feels like a sneaky shootout game, right? Washington seems to be like a team that's almost like sneaky trending, right? And we know if Philadelphia has somebody that can push them, they can still be elite. Yes, Jalen Hurts is tilting my balls by not running the ball as much this year, but man, he's been really good at passing. Specifically, he's been really good at passing to A.J. Brown, right? Is Devontae Smith going to be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Perhaps. But I'm just telling you, I'm just going to continue to ride with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown at $8,000 seems like a very nice price discount that you can get off the other stud wide receivers on the slate, and I don't think you're giving up any of the upside. Furthermore, Washington is a team that has the ability to push the Eagles, right? Their running game, Brian Robinson Jr. has been solid this year. Terry McLaurin is still definitely the number one receiver. He still hasn't had that big breakout game, but damn it, if he's ever going to do it, why not this game? Curtis Samuel is a guy that's also getting a lot of targets. I cannot believe my dude Jahan Dotson sucks balls, but he does. But I'm telling you, if the Commanders can push the Eagles are actually a kind of a really elite stack that not enough people are considering. A Hurts, Swift, A.J. Brown, and then you run it back with whoever, Samuel or Logan Thomas, whatever you want to do. I don't think anybody's going to build that. And how often can you get that good of a stack at such low ownership in a game that, if it has good weather, I think is shaping up nicely for a shootout? All right, let's get to the afternoon games. We have 4 afternoon games. Deshaun Watson is still faking injuries, so P.J. Walker will be starting again. Jerome Ford seems like he's trending towards being out. Okay, so if he's out, it's probably going to be a split between Pierre Strong and Kareem Hunt. I imagine Pierre Strong actually becomes a pretty viable play, as I think he will get a lot of the first and second down work and even some of the third down work out of the backfield. Kareem Hunt will, of course, still vulture all of the goal line looks, which is very annoying because then it kills all of the touchdown equity that Pierre Strong has, but that's not nothing. The thing I would just worry about is look at the total on this game. It's only a 38-point total. Seattle is a team that can control the clock, likes to play slow. And with DK Metcalf being out, I think that they don't mind yucking this game up. This just feels like a 17-16 type game, right? Amari Cooper is a guy that completely sucked last week, so he'll have a monster week this week. But at 6,200, I'll let somebody else pay to get cute. If DK Metcalf's out, we've already seen that opens up a ton of value for Jackson Smith and the Jigba and for Tyler Lockett, and even to a lesser extent, Jake Bobo, right? But here's what you got to know. We're probably not going to get final word on DK Metcalf until closer to lock, which will be in the afternoon. So you will have to have a plan in place to get him out. Because say you go put JSN, Jackson Smith and the Jigba, in your lineups, and then Metcalf's active. I don't like Jackson Smith and the Jigba as a third wide receiver in this game. So you better have a plan to get his slapdick ass out of your lineups. And if you play Jake Bobo, you really better have a plan to get him out of there, or you're a Bobo. Moving on to Arizona-Baltimore, probably everybody's favorite game on this slate. Let's face it, every team that plays Arizona is everybody's favorite game on the slate, right? We've got the Cardinals with a 17.5-point total. If they can somehow find 21 or 24 points in this game, which is a big if, you got to think that the Ravens are just going to absolutely slay them, right? Lamar and this offense really started to cook last week against a solid Lions team. I don't know how good their defense is, but they are a good team. Zay Flowers is still underpriced for the role that he has. You can see he's getting the vast majority of the share of the snaps, of the targets, everything you want to see from a guy. He looks awesome. He's going to be wildly owned, and thank God they priced up Mark Andrews at 6,400 so that he's not 97% owned this week. I think Baltimore is a fine stack, and obviously the most logical run back is probably Marquise Brown because he is having monster usage in this Cardinals offense. He just has one small problem called Josh Dobbs blows donkey dick and can't throw him the ball. And also, with Zach Ertz being out, I think Trey McBride is going to be mega chalk. So many people are going to run a Lamar, Zay Flowers stack and run it back with Trey McBride. So if that's what you're thinking you're going to do to save a little bit of money, just know you ain't being clever, pal. I also think Gus Edwards could be a dude. He could be a dude. If they get ahead, this game might get boring, and they might just run the ball to Gus Edwards, okay? So keep that. If you want to get off that Lamar, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews chalk, maybe just go toss in Gus Edwards. Hope he vultures a couple touchdowns, and that kills them. I see somebody, I see Crypto Pooper says Moss is officially out. Wow, okay. Guess that must have came out. I just looked an hour ago. I hadn't seen that. Kansas City at Denver, we do got to worry about the snow. There is a chance, but, it's Denver. The Broncos will be ready for it. The problem with Denver is not going to be the snow. It's going to be that they suck. I don't even know who I can play. This is the same problem I had last week. As interesting as the Chiefs are to me, it's like, who do I want to run it back with from the Broncos? Last week I said, I guess I could run it back with Cortland Sutton, but I didn't want to. Of course, he caught a touchdown. This week, Kansas City is very viable, a 28-point total, the second highest on the slate, but Mahomes and Kelsey, once again, is a super expensive stack. So you better hope that Mahomes gets 34 or 37, and you better hope Kelsey gets 28 or 32 or something like that to pay off those incredibly pricey price tags. Isaiah Pacheco is a guy that, I just feel like he should be like the fifth best running back in the NFL when it comes to fantasy football, but they just refuse to give him the full load. But in a game like this, if there's ever a time that he is going to finally get 18 to 20 carries and maybe 3 or 4 catches, this could be it. If he has those against this putrid Broncos defense, I think he's line for a big game. And the final game on the slate, with probably the biggest news of the slate, it does appear as though Brock Purdy has passed concussion protocol and is likely to play. I was ready to run Sam Darnold stacks for all the monies, but it appears as though Brock Purdy is going to play. He's only 5,600. Deebo Samuel is likely to be out again, so you've got to give notice that Brandon Ayuk is probably going to be very, very valuable. Christian McCaffrey is just an absolute god at fantasy this year. He's a usage monster. He's efficient. He's everything you want in a guy. And honestly, at 9,200, I still feel like he's underpriced. George Kittle's always somebody you have to consider. I will warn you, if Trent Williams is out, which I've not seen his status, they do leave Kittle in to block more when Trent Williams is out. Lastly, for Cincinnati, I think a lot of people are going to want to run these Brock Purdy stacks and run it back with Joe Mixon. I think the sneakier run back here may be T. Higgins, right? Everybody's just forgotten about T. Higgins, and this is the first time we've seen T. Higgins under $6,000, probably since his rookie season, right? I don't know if I love Joe Burrow or Chase at those price tags. Chase at that price tag, or just Burrow, because I'm still not convinced he doesn't suck. But I do think T. Higgins is a guy that could catch some contested balls. And as aggressive as the 49ers are on defense, I think I like T. Higgins' game against them, right? And I know for a fact he will be lower owned than Jamar Chase. So why don't I take the $2,200 discount and just try to get different? There you go. That was a quick rundown of everything. Let's get to some questions. Let's get to some drawings. Hit the like. Let's get up to 100 likes over here so we can do 2 drawings. Editor, I currently see 75 likes. Once it gets to 100, we'll do a second one. But before we do, go check out my site, dgen75.com. We're gonna have NFL. We're gonna have NFL Showdown. We have college football. We have PGA. We have PGA Showdown. NASCAR is coming, and there's just got to be a place out there where you can get your DFS tools and content that you need without being price gouged. I have packages that start as low as $5. I just want people to be able to have fun and have a sustainable time with DFS, because that's what it should be. And if you do it long enough, you do it well enough, you build a process and you're sustainable enough, I promise you, you'll hit a big one. Just look at all these motherfuckers. This is just from last week on my Discord right here. Bannock hitting 20,000 twice, Nungs hitting 20,000, Deadhead hitting 5,600, Panic DJ hitting 3,600, Jay Bannock with another 2,000, JT Cap winning 1,000, Taco winning 1,000, Two Hearted 500, Eric 500, Droid 400. Just look at all those first, man. Like, it's not about how much you win, it's about how much you win respective to what you play, right? When you win, when you're playing $5 a slate and you win $500, that's a shit ton of money. I literally never win $100. This is what we're about over in my community. Just look at that flag flying. I promise you, you ain't gonna see anybody flying that flag more, or any site flying it as much as people fly that flag. Oh yeah, and I have the best tool out there called the Rosetta Stone, which has everything you need to know on one play sheet, so you can spend an hour and get all the useful information you need and still be competitive with all the big dogs who do this for a living and have neck beards and who haven't touched grass in a year or probably ever touched a woman. Okay, so that's how you do it. If you want to try out my site and you you're a little reluctant to pay, just simply sign up for my newsletter. It's in the description of this video. You just let support DGen75 right here on Twitter know. They'll give you a free week on the website. You won't regret it. And the last thing I want you to know is me and Tambo are having a big meetup at the Waste Management this February. That is Super Bowl Sunday. We'll be there that whole week having a meetup. Start making plans now to come out there, or if you're already planning on going out there, make plans to come to hang out. We'll be doing a different thing every night, from Top Golf to the casino to a big Super Bowl party. If that sounds interesting, come check it out. All right, editor, let's get to the drawing. I need 100 likes over here, you motherfathers. While we get to 100 likes, I am going to spin. This is for my Twitter people. I appreciate all of you liking and retweeting. This is for them to build a Millionaire Maker ticket with me. Simply just shoot me a DM either on Twitter or on the Discord. KDog7211. I know that motherfather. Good people right there. Appreciate it. And editor, I guess let's just do one for the drawing right now. And once we get to 100, we'll do a second one, okay? The first one, Jared Bass. Hey, the bass player. Bow, 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 bow. There we go, Jared. Just popping the bass. He's a slapper. He doesn't even use a pick. I respect it. You got to respect that. Still not brought to you by Topo Chico. Still not brought to you by Topo Chicos, those cheap fucks. All right, let's get back to the Rosetta Stone. Let's answer some questions. Big thanks to whoever shared the Moss news. I got a whole team, Caddy Air, of sweaty tryhards, and yeah, we were on that was the main reason I doubled up. Today was a shit show at cash, but I did one thing a lot of people didn't do. I got that piece of shit Moss out of my lineup. All right, let's get to it. Once we get to 100 likes, editor, just proactively go draw another one. That is assuming we even get to 100 likes. We got 147 people in here, and apparently about 60 of them don't know how to hit the like button, you donkey dicks. All right, what's up, big? Hey, what's up, Graba Mex? I don't recognize the name, but I'm glad you're here, you motherfather. What's up, X-Turk? All right, Reckless J says, late game hammer with Burrow and Purdy. You know, I do kind of like that game. If Reckless J, if I know that Brock Purdy, maybe with the injury concerns, I'll go look at ownership again tonight, probably put out some updated ownership over on the solver tonight. But here's what I tell you. If Brock Purdy, if I can get him at under 5%, I think a Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk stack with maybe a McCaffrey, I call that a 1.5 stack because you have one true pass catcher and a half a pass catcher in McCaffrey. I kind of like that for all the money. Run it back with T. Higgins. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like that one. I don't mind it. But if it's going to be chalky, I'm not going to do it. But that feels like an affordable way to get some really good players in my lineup. Yep. Why is DraftKings pricing so soft this year? I can answer that one, Dylan. I can answer it with 100% certainty, right? DraftKings knows that people lose interest in NFL every week, right? Everybody comes into, I love the NFL DFS, and by week 3, they've blown through all their money, and they're like, man, this is so hard. We got all these pros win. No, you're just a fucking moron is the problem, okay? And so what they have to do is they don't want you to feel defeated and be losing your money, and then also feel like you can't build lineups that you like. They want you to build a lineup that you at least feel good about and you like. And so when they make pricing too difficult, now you already have these people who are defeated from losing, who've burned through all their money, and now they feel like they can never build a lineup that they like, so they make pricing extra soft. It's that simple. I promise you that's the answer. Who's the best valued quarterback this week? Well, you know what? Let's just go right over here. Let's go look at this. These are my projections. You go over here. You scroll over. You go to points per dollar. If you just look at points per dollars based on my projections, the two best would be Dak Prescott and Zach Wilson. Gross. You go play all the Zach Wilson you want. You got to remember, part of that's just because Zach Wilson is a starting quarterback and he's just so redonkulously cheap, right? I'll play Zach Wilson about never. Do you like Houston, Carolina stack? I really do. I'm warming up to that game a lot in a stress. Let's see. Michael Curtis says, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, LOL, just kidding. You watch your mouth, Mike. Hey, man, we weren't supposed to go undefeated this year. If we rip off 11-1, make the Big 12 championship game, I'm okay with that. Plus, if you watch the OU game today, you'll know Kansas didn't really win that game. OU just lost it, which is a lot better, right? I would rather my team lose than the other team just straight whoop our ass. OU did everything like, hey, how can I lose this game? Check. So, I'm okay with that. Those things can be fixed, I think. It didn't look like we just had an inferior team. It looked like we just had a bunch of morons out there. And maybe it's the coaches. Which QB for Tennessee Titans will get the most reps? You can see right here, we are projecting the one to get more reps to be Levis, right? I think Levis is who we have starting. Or Levi's if you're a big jeans guy. How do we go? How low do we go on defense this week? I haven't even looked at defense. Let's go over here. Let's go to defense, and let's just go sort by salary, and let's just go see who's the cheapest one. Broncos defense. I mean, I guess I don't mind that. I play I'm not playing the Patriots defense. I could probably go as low as I could probably play Cincinnati's defense. I could play Washington's defense. The first one I would feel pretty good about playing would probably be Carolina's defense. I'm still not convinced C.J. Stroud doesn't have a pick 6 or 2 in him, right? So there's a couple to consider. Weather report on KC Denver, I'd say about a 25% chance of snow, right? I don't have my fancy weather thing up, but I will go look at that in a little bit. Which nasty stacks are we going with tomorrow? Zach, I listed off like 3 of them, bro. No, maybe 4 of them. There's some gross stacks that I'm considering tomorrow. Given the larger 13-game slate this week versus last week, how is your process different this week from last week? An extra stack? No, I'm still just going to do my 20 to 24 lineups. I'll only probably run 2 stacks, and I think that I'm just going to stick with my process of keeping a very condensed stacks and very condensed running backs, sprinkle at wide receiver, and make some strategic fades on chalk that I think is overvalued. That's just what I do every week, and it works out a few times a year. So the answer to your question is, J-Matt, I'm not changing much, bro. Is Chiefs Bronco game fadeable? I have no idea what you're trying to say here. Is it fadeable? Absolutely, it's fadeable because the Broncos suck and the Chiefs are overpriced. Right? If that game is like 21-16, probably nobody gets there unless somebody's a usage monster. Right? Curtis Michael says second place in a single entry Xfinity race today. Let's go, you mother father. Worth eating the Breece Hall chalk this week? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna just come at you Strands 23. I think that there's so many good running backs in that $5,700 through $6,200 range this week. To play the chalkiest ones, I don't know if that's the best play, but I've kind of been thinking about maybe I'll just go play the expensive running backs this week and be different that way, right? I'll just spin up at running back every time and just never go into that medium range, right? Never play a Swift, never play a Kenneth Walker, never play a Gus Edwards, never play an Isaiah Pacheco, and just go, never play a Joe Mixon. Just go play McCaffrey. Just go play Pollard. Just keep paying up, right? Or maybe I do pay ups and punts. I haven't really decided. But I will tell you this, that Mostert would be another big pay up, right? So you just play the big 3 pay up options. See if I just making sure I didn't forget anybody here. Yeah, no, the rest of them suck. All right. Olave Smash Week. Well, this is probably the first week I won't play him, so definitely. No, I've played Olave every week this season. He still hasn't done good, so why stop now? Why don't I just have him lose all my money? My house just got foreclosed on because of Olave. Now I want him to start taking away on my retirement. Very exciting stuff. Enjoy the good content, man. Much appreciated. Nate, I appreciate you being here, you motherfather. I see 91 likes, editor. 91 likes. They better hurry. I'm flying through these questions. Jason Reed says, KC weather will be fine. Go Mahomes. Hopefully low ownership is public. Yeah, I just don't stack Mahomes, Jason. I told you that last week, and even after he broke the slate last week and did awesome, I just never play Mahomes on main slate. He's just too fucking hard to stack, man. That's just my process. I think he's always a good option because he's so electric. But he's just not for me. I like my quarterbacks to have concentrated usage and to offer, a little bit more rushing upside than he does. What's up? Sorry about the Sooners. Yeah, it happens, man. I think it says a lot about you. I love my Sooners. I like when they win, but I no longer let it affect my mood for the next 3 days, right? Or for the next week or two. They're just fucking 18 to 23-year-old kids playing football. It's cool when they win, but it's not the end of the world when they don't. Have fun with it. People take this shit way too serious. Damian Pierce season, I don't hate it, Steven. I need to do a little bit more soul searching on him, but I don't mind that game environment at all. Houston Carolina stack, I am out thanking you. I already told you I don't mind it. Which late game is the best swap? Good question from my dude Lorenzo here. I think that the game in the afternoon that is going to be probably the best one to swap to is probably going to be, I really think if you want low owned, I think this Cleveland-Seattle game is going to be very low owned because of the total. And I think the other one that's going to be low owned is, weirdly enough, going to be this Kansas City-Denver game, simply because Kansas City is very expensive. Kansas City guys are coming off of a big week. People don't like to chase those monster weeks. And I'm telling you, no one wants to play anybody from Denver. Is this a 3 RB week in GPPs? Just so many good running back plays? I don't mind it, but I'll tell you this, Jay Steele. You, as a guy who follows my college football content, you know at College Football Cash, I almost always go 3 RBs. But in the NFL, I almost find myself always playing 4 wide receivers, both at cash and GPPs. But I am open to it. If a running back falls in my flex this week, I'm not opposed to it. But generally speaking, in NFL, I prefer wide receivers. 7.7K for Mostert. This has to be a Waddle week. Hey, you ain't gonna get no argument from me. 99 likes, editor. We got 99 likes, and you ain't one of them. So hit the like button, you motherfather. Which of the common receivers do you think is a better run back with Hurts? Let's see. I think McLaurin is just due for a big week, man. Just call it a feeling. I don't have any great data or stats for you on that. It just feels like a big McLaurin week coming up, right? That's where I'm at. How is Thielen doing this at 33? I mean, honestly, when you get 58 targets a game, you're going to accidentally catch 10 of them, right? He's actually playing pretty good. I think he's running routes that have very high catch percentages, and that helps a lot, right? The exact opposite is guys like T. Higgins. Every ball's a jump ball where he's got to dunk on a guy. Editor, I see 100 likes. Why don't you go ahead and put a name in there? Is in single entry, how different is a lineup construction versus 3-max? I treat them basically the same, Michael. My 3-maxes and single entries are essentially the same lineup. I pull from the same player pool, and I don't worry too much about, ooh, this is a 3-max, or ooh, this is a single entry. I think you're overthinking it at that point, right? Tyler Zerr, Zerr in the house, is the winner of the drawing. Thank you for being here, you motherfather. Let's see. Does low-owned expensive KC pieces and bad weather take down a GPP? Yeah, I think I'm going to have a plan where I can switch to those guys in the afternoon. I just going to have to get clever, right? Basically, I'm going to have to get off McCaffrey to switch to those guys because he's the only guy I can have reserved in those lineups that would leave me enough money to switch to him. Are we paying down at wide receiver? Lots of RB studs. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I like to pay up for running backs and down for receivers, and nothing about this slate has made me think any differently. Also think I want to pay down at quarterback this week, simply just because I do want to get access to some of those more expensive guys. Did you see Addison as a true red zone threat or dude at T-down? Yeah, he is not a big red zone threat, I don't think. He's just a little guy. So I don't love that, but I do think that he is getting pretty involved, and I do think he is a legit, and I think he's basically just a little bit less talented than Garrett Wilson, which is a pretty big compliment. Green Bay, Minnesota secondary stack, a bad idea. I don't hate it. If you think that game's going to shoot out, get in there, brother. Todd Kyle, cash process question. Is it wise to determine beforehand if you want your flex to be a run? No, I just let it kind of play out, however it plays out, right? And normally I would think in cash you would really want to lean towards wide receiver in the flex, as the full point PPR really offers them a safer floor. But I think this week with so many good running back values, this might be a week to strongly consider maybe doing the three running backs at wide receiver. Crypto said Moss is out, so I think you're going to see, I'm not going to lie, I think Jonathan Taylor's probably going to be the highest owned running back on this slate. What's the max numbers of player you'd play from one game? 3. So let's say I'm not playing Tua. I would still play Mostert, Waddle, and a run and some run back from whoever the hell they're playing. Who's the Dolphins playing again? Oh yeah, maybe Kendrick Bourne or something. I don't know. I'm going to do that. Niners stack with mix and run back. I think that's going to be very, very popular, Stacy. How often do you like running backs as a run back to a team? I don't mind it because that running back, a lot of times, if that team's playing ahead, that usually means my running back is in a good script and my stack on the other side is in a good script because they're having the pass to get caught up, right? So I think there's a solid correlation there. Do you like McLaurin or Samuel more? I think I like them both for price adjusted, but I think McLaurin has bigger upside. Samuel has a safer floor would be my answer. Kevin says, how is Cincinnati-San Francisco game not the best? Purdy back in, Cincinnati. Yeah, I just think people are a little worried, myself included, about how good the 49ers defense has been this year, and we still haven't seen the Bengals really put it together. I mean, they've had the one good game, but overall, that and that was against the freaking Cardinals, man. We haven't seen them do it against a real team yet. Is playing 2-2 cute? Yes, it is. You think Purdy is starting? I think Purdy, the party's over. No, he's starting. Thoughts on C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins stack? I mean, the more I think about it, I really like it just because with Woods out, I think that Nico and Tank Dell are going to get like all of them, right? I think they're going to get all them targets, Bob. Would you play the Dolphins with no run back or maybe think about Pop Douglas getting on the field? Yeah, Pop Douglas, I think, is probably the second best option there for the Patriots, right? That's a guy they really seem to be wanting to get the ball. He is fairly electric, right? All right. X-Turka says Metcalf will play. Well, there you go. Metcalf is going to play, but you got to remember, he's also kind of turned into a fragile wiener this year. What a smart response, DK trying to limit effectiveness of double stacking via pricing. What's a smart response to DK? Yeah, I mean, just don't play the obvious two double stacks, right? Like if you want to play Tua, don't stack Tua with Waddle and Tyreek. Go stack him with Waddle and Durham Smythe or Berrios or whoever, right? Michael Thomas just got downgraded to questionable due to illness. Oh, that ain't nothing small right there, Nuggets. That ain't nothing small. I'll tell you, if he's out, I think that gives a nice boost to Shaheed and a moderate boost to Olave. So that's interesting. That's it, because that's a game I'm already thinking I kind of want to be like, hey, baby, what you doing, baby? So I might have to check that one out. If I don't see a question mark, I'm not answering it. Big Colts, going with your process tip of the week, would you also consider punting at defense? Yes, I almost always punt at defense. You'll never see me with a defense over $3,200 in my lineup. Most often, it's not even above $2,800. It's whatever. I mean, anybody who acts like they can foresee, like the NFL, what makes it so appealing is it is a very, the projections in this sport are much more accurate than they are in a sport, say, like PGA. Except for the defenses. Everybody's pulling it out of their ass. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It is the most fickle position. And to act like there's some big advantage to projecting that is nonsensory. Did you see CMC praising Sam Darnold in the preseason? He said that he should be the starter. I did not see that, sir. Since we're talking soft pricing, do it change the process at all? Not really. I'm going to stick with it because, soft pricing just means I'm going to get to those expensive running backs that I want more often. Only a wide receiver in the flex week? If you want to be different, I think this will be a week, X-Turkey, you will see more people with a running back in the flex than we normally do. Nicholas Weichel, don't recognize the name. Welcome, brother. Between Pacheco and Brees, who would you prefer? Oh, that's tough. I think I like Pacheco's floor more. I like Brees's upside more. Brees just strikes me as a guy who could have a 30-point game tomorrow. If he busts that one, 70-yard touchdown run, it feels like he'll go for 30 tomorrow, right? But I think Pacheco will almost certainly get 12, and I can't say Brees will almost certainly get 12. JSN and Bobo worthless this week? I think so. If we have Metcalf officially playing, no way I'm touching those guys. If Tay will not go to Denver, is Kelsey an auto fade? I mean, it's a narrative we got to consider. We got to consider it. Eric A says the Ravens usage spread too thin. I don't think so, man. I think their usage is still pretty concentrated. Zay Flowers is definitely the number one wide receiver. We all know Andrews is the number one tight end. Really, he's the only tight end. So there you go. Thielen's a free square. I don't know about that, Bob. Do you mentally adjust ownership for 3-max? I don't. I don't worry too much about it. My 3-max versus my single entry, any of that, I don't. How much birthday boy Tank Dell is too much Tank Dell? I think I really like Tank Dell. If you want to put him in 40% of your lineups, I won't hate on it. I think he has a safe floor and a big upside, and I really like that game. Do you see any leverage with splitting lineups between early and late slate because of the 13-game full slate? I don't like to do that, Calvin. I kind of like to just let it play out and then look over my lineups and kind of see, do I have a plan for the afternoon to adjust? But I never just think, I got to play all early guys or all late guys. I don't know. That just seems like too much for me. Do you like Philly-Washington game stacks? Hurts with AJ, Devontae Goddard with 2 Washington wide receivers. That's a really big stack, Mike. I don't know if I want to put that much into one game, but I definitely do like the scoring environment of that game. The Magic School Bus, would you lean more on running backs in the flex on FanDuel? I don't really play FanDuel, but I would say just based on it being a half-point PPR, I think it does make more sense over there. Exactly how do you come up with projections? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, Bart. A lot of it is just as simple as how many snaps they're on the field, how many targets are they getting, how many plays does the team run, what percentage of the uses does that player get, how many yards do we expect from them based on the points that Vegas is giving them and the yards they've been getting so far this year, and you take it and you divide it up. Like all of that sounds relatively complicated, but I'm telling you, a smart sixth grader can come up with basic projections. Where you really get good at projections is really touching them up and making them fine-tuned to all the little nuances that there is when it comes to doing projections. $150 Power Suite, best high-end contest to plan. It's my favorite. I really like it. And I won it, so that's cool too. D. Henderson at 4,800, a good value. I'm still not sure about that, right? I just don't ever trust Sean McVay with a running back. But what I will tell you is Sean McVay does love to lean on one running back, probably more than any other coach in the NFL. So there is that. All right, last question. Here we go. Kevin says, with the snow in Denver, my buddy said it already have 3 inches right now. Will Pacheco be good to go? Dink and dunk. I don't mind that narrative. I think if it snows, that does increase Pacheco's value. I have not seen the 3 inches, but that is interesting. I hope that's what your friend was talking about when he said there's 3 inches right now. So I think that's going to do it, guys. Come check out my site. I'm telling you, we have packages as low as $5. There's got to be a place where you can get good DFS content without being price gouged. Do not forget that me and Tambo do our show this Tuesday. And do not forget to go check out the Solver, where you can get all of my projections and a lineup optimizer for as low as $25 a month. All right, guys, it's been real. I appreciate you being here. I will see you again Tuesday when me and Tambo do a look ahead for week 9. It will be right here on my channel. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for being here, but enjoy this outro in the meantime.